Hi, welcome back to Christine's Health Affairs. I've got to tell you, it has been a massive week this week, and not all of it has been very good. I don't know when I did the last report. That must have been perhaps on Monday. Today is Friday, and yeah, it's been a big week. I'm really cold. That's why I'm wearing a hat. I discovered last week, I got out of the shower, don't often have a look at my body, and this time I did, and I don't have any body hair on me, and it makes sense because I've been cold for weeks, putting so many layers on. Often I'm wearing 2 hats or sometimes even 3 caps at a time, 2 or 3 jackets, and it's amazing how much of a difference not having any body hair is making to how cold you feel. It's nearly winter. I think winter is next month. So I am really, really cold. And the only place I have hair at the moment is on the knuckles of my toes. Oh, and on my head. I've got more hair there than I have anywhere else. My week, last week, you guys know that I ended up in the emergency department in hospital. I ended up with atrial fibrillation, something to do with the heart. And we don't know yet if it had anything to do with the new chemo regime or if it's a separate issue on its own, or I don't know. We don't know. But we've had lots of tests. So we did chemo Wednesday a week ago and thought that we weren't going to have to go to Melbourne at all for the next 3 weeks. We ended up going twice this week. So it was Saturday I came home from the hospital. Sunday I slept most of the day, and I did get to the shop a couple of times, I think at the end of the day and very early in the day as well, but I was really fatigued. So I wasn't much use to anybody at all. Chris had to send everybody away for the alterations, and I really hadn't done anything since Friday last week. Monday, I think that was a bit of a blur. I'm taking the new tablets for the atrial fibrillation to help keep my heart rate at a reduced rate or at a steady rate. It's supposed to stop the rate going up to, outrageous beats per second or minute, whatever. Anyway, I'm taking new medication, and I'm not sure what effect this is having on my body. I think I'm feeling quite weak. Again, we don't know if that's because of the chemo regime or if it's because of the new drugs. So I've been taking those morning and night, and I haven't been able to take Coco for a walk because I haven't trusted myself with the ability to even walk outside the front door of the house. We got an appointment on Wednesday to go down to Melbourne and have a heart monitor put on just for 24 hours. So we went down there really early on Wednesday morning. Tuesday I was pretty shaky and on the couch most of the day sleeping. I couldn't walk much. Every time I got up I had really wobbly legs. They're just like Gumby's legs. And so Wednesday we went down to Melbourne, and Chris, at the hospitals they have the quick turnaround parking where you could be dropped off and the patients are dropped off. So Chris dropped me off there so that I could walk inside, and I could barely even manage to get inside the hospital building by the time he went and parked the car. Anyway, he found me sitting on one of the lounges inside the hospital. We went down to the cardiology ward, and it was probably only about 20-metre walk down the hallway, and I could barely hold myself up. I was so weak. And eventually we got in to see the guy that fitted the heart monitor. We don't know what happened to me at the time, but I'm a fainter. I didn't faint, but I have been known to faint a few times in my life. And what happened was he was putting the heart monitor on, and that was all fine, and he was telling us, what we needed to do for the next 24 hours. And I was sitting in the chair, and I just couldn't even hold my head up. It was like I had passed out, but I was still awake. Chris had to stand behind me and try and hold my head up, because otherwise it would have just probably ended up right down here somewhere. And all I wanted to do was just lay down somewhere. The doctor suggested perhaps I need to go to the emergency ward, which was just down the corridor. I refused that, but I ended up on the floor in the doctor's office. And as I said, it was just like when you faint, you just end up on the floor in a heap, and that's all I was this great big lump lying on the floor, the cold floor in the doctor's office, which was actually really good because I had got so hot and so clammy, and I just needed to go somewhere that could absorb all my body weight, because I didn't even have the energy to hold my head up or my arms or legs or anything. So the floor was just the most comfortable place for me. Lay there for a few minutes, and then I finally managed to sit up and put my jumper back on, and eventually Chris was sent out to go and get the car, and the doctor went and got a wheelchair, and he ended up wheeling me out to the car. He was a really, really lovely guy. He didn't want to ride in the wheelchair with me. I offered, but he said no. I don't think I'm offended. So that was my Wednesday. It was a really bad day. I was so weak, and it's embarrassing too. I've always been a really strong person, and I don't like being weak. So that got me really emotional as well, which is what I do a lot. But I guess that's expected. So I came home with the heart monitor and really didn't do much at all. I didn't do much at all. He told me I wasn't allowed to party, so I couldn't party. Next morning, we also had another appointment in Melbourne. We also had to return the heart monitor anyway, but fortunately we managed to get another ultrasound appointment for a breast scan, because in the meantime we had spoken to our oncologist and we weren't sure which way we were going to proceed going forward, because if the new drugs have caused the problem with the heart, then what are we going to do? So our oncologist organised another another ultrasound for us on Thursday morning. So we went and got that done at the hospital as well. We're really fortunate that everything is happening in the same precinct. So where we go to the hospital, whether it's the public system for what happened last week with the heart stuff, or whether it's our private stuff, everything is within the same 100 metres or so. So it's very, very convenient. Anyway, I had my ultrasound yesterday morning. That was Thursday. I did actually ask the lady that did the scan if she was allowed to tell me if the tumour was still there. And unfortunately, they have to take 3 measurements. And unfortunately, only 2 of the markers had showed a reduction in size and one of them hadn't. So I had thought, and our oncologist had thought, that perhaps it may have even shrunk back to, maybe nothing. We were hoping for nothing. I was hoping for nothing, because I think the result of the scan yesterday is going to determine what is going to be happening going forward with any more chemo and surgery and stuff like that. Because I think that we might have been considering an early surgery if the tumour had shrunk enough. I won't get the results for that until next Thursday. We do have to go to Melbourne again, twice again next week. So Monday we have to go and see a heart specialist at another clinic in Melbourne. And I think that's just to determine whether or not I'm strong enough to have more chemo. I'm not sure, but we'll find out about that next week. And then on Thursday, we're off to Melbourne again to find out the results of the ultrasound, and then find out exactly where we go from there. Because the following Wednesday, I'm supposed to have my immunotherapy, the doxorubicin and some other chemo drug again as well. So, everything's happening. Too many trips to Melbourne. Chris has been absolutely amazing. He's in the shed tonight. I try not to bother him too much. It's, Coco and I have our time on the couch, and Chris likes to do his thing, so I'm really trying to encourage him to do whatever he can because he's spending so much time looking after me. I mean, he's been my carer basically. I haven't been able to drive until today. I haven't had the energy. I could barely walk to bed, let alone to the toilet or to the supermarket. So Chris has had to come to the supermarket with me and help me do the groceries, which he absolutely hates doing. But he's been a real trooper. He's been fantastic. So that brings us to today. Well, yesterday I was still really weak. When I went to the ultrasound, I had to try and walk down the hallway and to the ultrasound room. And again, they offered me a wheelchair and I could still stand up, so I was determined to walk, but it was really difficult. And for some reason in the evenings, things have actually been a little bit better each of the days. Like in the morning, I can't walk at all, can't do anything, but later on in the evening, I might be able to unpack the dishwasher or I might be able to do something. But in the mornings, I'm totally useless. But today, Friday, the day we usually open the shop, I got up in the morning, I practically flew out of bed. I managed to get dressed without collapsing. I managed to do so many things without collapsing today. I went to work. I actually drove myself. It's only like 300 or 400 metres away. And I worked the entire day. So I had so many people come in with alterations and I thought I'll just do a couple of them. As it turns out, I'm extremely slow at the moment. So where it might take me an hour to hem 2 pairs of trousers, I think it took me about 4 hours, but I was a real trooper. I got there, I did it, and I did a lot more than that as well. So big day for alterations at the shop. And I didn't even have to come home and have a nap. So I actually worked a full day's work today and I just had so much energy, and even walking to the post office, I managed to do that on my own. So I was prepared. I had lots of chairs to sit on the way up there, had my phone in case I needed Chris, but I did manage. So these things at the moment are really exciting for me. They may not seem much to others, but when you've barely been able to lift your foot, it's a big thing to be able to go to work and stay there for the day. I've still got, other issues that I'm having with the chemo and the neuropathy. I'm having a lot of trouble with the numbness in my toes and my fingers, mostly my thumbs. So my hands aren't too bad, but my feet are really awful and I don't really know what to do about that. I've been trying just some normal Panadol or painkillers. If anybody's got any suggestions for the numbness in your feet, let me know. I could really use your advice. Tastes, interestingly, my tastes in the first lot of chemo that I did with the paclitaxel and carboplatin and the immunotherapy, I constantly had a really strong metallic taste in my mouth, and I haven't been able to eat a lot of normal foods that I'd normally like to eat because of the really strong metallic taste. This time around, it's a completely different problem that I'm having with tastes. I still can't taste food. I'm really struggling to eat anything that's dry, like I can't eat bread or toast or meat because it's just too hard and dry, and I'm putting everything I can into soups, lots of vegetable soups. If I do, I did a bone broth the other day and there was little flaky bits of meat on that, but because I find it difficult to swallow, I just put everything in the food processor and made it a nice thick kind of soup. And salads. For some reason I can eat salad, but I can't with salad dressing, but I can't eat normal vegetables, just steamed or boiled or whatever vegetables and meats. So it's really weird that I can't do that. Everything has to be wet. Still doesn't taste very good either. So it's like, what can I do? Yogurt for breakfast and a banana, whereas I usually enjoy my cereal, but even the cereal is too dry no matter how much milk you have with it. But at least I can have yogurt and a banana. I don't know that there's anything else I need to report. I haven't unpacked my rowing machine yet that I bought a couple of weeks ago. Now, a couple of people were concerned about that. I had asked the oncologist about the rowing machine and she was fine with me having that. And one of the reasons why I chose a rowing machine over any other exercise equipment was it's close to the floor. So I figured that if I'm exercising and I pass out or fall off or something, I don't have far to land. So, I was looking after myself. The cardiologist the other day, I asked him about it as well, and providing I can exercise, they're all for it. There's not a problem with me doing any exercise. It's not going to cause any problems with the atrial fibrillation or anything else. So exercise is really good, especially if I can't get out to walk Coco and get any of that exercise. So I am able to do some rowing when I actually have the energy to. I don't think I've got anything else to report. That's about it. I am going to go to work tomorrow again and Sunday. Hopefully I'll have a really good weekend, and hopefully this weakness that I've had is just part of the chemo that we had. We'll find out if we do the next round anyway, so we'll see what the pattern is going to be for that. But yeah, we'll soon see. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. Cancer's tough, but we're tougher, and we shall see you next time. Bye.